What is going on, guys? Theodore L here again, and with another history of video, this time being of Slenderman. You're probably wondering, why the Slenderman? The reason I chose Slenderman is because there's going to be a Slenderman movie later this year. I don't know when exactly, so just give me a minute. It's actually coming out May 18th of this year. Terror strikes when unsuspecting victims cross paths with a tall, thin, horrifying figure known as the Slenderman. Now, this video was originally supposed to be a reaction of the first Slenderman. Just a minute, guys. Okay, I'm back. As I was saying, this video was supposed to be like a reaction video of the first official trailer. But my phone is running out of storage, so I had to delete a few things. So I'm like, yeah, I could just do the reaction video on Sunday. So let's get started with the history of the Slender Man. The Slender Man is a supernatural creature with nebulously defined characteristics and abilities. Slender Man was first mentioned in Something Awful forums create paranormal images. He generally appears in modern times as a tall humanoid creature in a black or gray suit, red or black tie, and white shirt. Now, before I go any further, I'm getting this information from the fandom, the slenderman.wiki.com/wiki/slender_man. So anyway, back to where I was at. Oh yes. As a tall humanoid creature in a black or gray suit, red or black tie, and white shirt. His face is totally white, completely devoid of facial features. He has no hair and generally has normal looking bare hands, albeit with fingers longer and bonier than a typical human. Slenderman has been depicted in imagery and literature at anywhere between 6 and 15 feet tall. Depending on the situation, though, in video, he's usually around 6 to 7 feet tall. Okay, that is pretty scary seeing that I'm like 6'1.5". If I saw the Slenderman, I'm like, nope. Like, nope, .avi. Um, because of his inexact nature and differences between accounts, no one has yet. I fixed the one. Okay, my stepfather was helping me fix Power Rangers Jungle Fury, the complete series, and the Harry Potter 8-disc DVD set because I'm going to my father's this weekend. Because of his inexact nature and differences between accounts, no one has yet determined what exactly the Slender Man is. Currently, there are two leading theories as to what the Slender Man may be: the Tupla effect and quantum theory. Now, before I go any further, I've never heard of either of those places. The internet popularity of Slenderman has spawned a massive number of interconnected ARGs, which I've heard that term before. Alternate reality game. I'm pretty sure there was one for the Dark Eye around the time it was coming out, and and Cloverfield too. So, okay, the internet popularity, man, I cannot speak, of Slenderman has spawned a massive number of interconnected ARGs, collectively known as the Slenderman mythos. Now, there's some art by Jimmy Gibbs Jr., and he goes by many names. Slenderman, the tall man, the thin man. Oh boy, German. Just to let you guys know, I may be a senior in high school, but I don't know German since I don't take that class. Since I What book? Never heard of it. My mom is watching Jeopardy, and she answered a question, and apparently the answer was a book that took her 6 months just to finish. That long? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. There are some really. It's hard to. I'm gonna try to pronounce these to the best of my ability. So here we go. Der Schlenkerman, 4W, Schlenkwald, Slendy, Slenderman, the Pale One, the White King, Master, and the Black King. Identity, unknown being. Appearances, Marble Hornets. I've actually have heard of that channel. From a channel called Inside the Mind. I think that channel mentioned that. EMH, ML Anderson 0, Tribe 12, and Dark Harvest 00. His origins are from Victor Surge and the Something Awful forums, as I mentioned. Wow, there's already a lore for Slenderman in a minute. That's probably a better video than anything I can do. Basic description. Okay. In almost every description of the Slenderman, his attributes will vary, sometimes greatly. However, his basic appearance and traits are relatively consistent. You know, maybe I should have gotten some water. Just a minute. Okay, I was just asking one of my parents if they could get me some water so I don't slur. However, his basic appearance and traits are relatively consistent across different accounts. His appearance has changed over the years, but the most common image and the most well-known in media is that of an abnormally tall human with long arms and a totally blank face, as I mentioned above or earlier a few minutes ago. He's usually portrayed wearing a business suit, which may be either real cloth or some form of skin molded to take on the appearance of cloth. Okay, I did not need to know that. If the former, this would imply an intelligent being attempting to try to blend in. If it is the latter, it suggests an extremely adaptive being that evolves to match its environment. He behaves in what might be seen as a passive aggressive manner, often stalking targets for years at a time before ever attacking. It's understood that he tends to torture his targets mentally over long periods of time, using fear and paranoia to drive them to insanity. No one has ever satisfactorily explained the reason behind his tactics or the way he chooses his victims and his purpose okay, I don't want the leaderboard right now. They're playing apparently they're live right now, of course. And his purposes and wait. and his purposes and or motivations have yet to be fully asserted. He is rarely, if ever, portrayed in a good or benign light, and is generally understood to be a malevolent force. Thank you. Why is it a little weird looking? Yeah, of course. Thank you. Okay. Slenderman is a mystery. He looks like a human being, but doesn't act like one. It is uncertain. You know what, maybe I should go to. Okay, I didn't need. I don't need. Oh, I can't do a flip. Hey, Zach and critic, movie critic, and the Black Mac Anime 2. I like. Okay, so hey guys, thanks for watching the stream. This is actually 3 people. Cool. It is uncertain if he is a social creature, understands human languages or behaviors, or even why humans appear to be his primary targets. It seems as if he is capable of possessing his targets in some cases. Slenderman's mere appearance provokes fear. That's true. I mean, when I came across the Slenderman, I was pretty scared. This is partially due to his towering height and overall unnerving appearance, and partially due to his behavior, which is almost completely alien. Humans also find it extremely hard to describe the Slenderman. A description in words can be given, but often lack the ability to fully describe the creature. It is believed that Slenderman is from slash exists on a fourth dimensional plane, which would account for some of his apparent abilities. Okay, I don't think that's Marvel because there's no Captain Marvel. I mean, there is. I don't think that's DC. I mean, the only teen heroes I know of are Static Shock, but that was from a company that was later bought by. Sorry, guys. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm now intrigued by Jeopardy. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Um, there are 2 main descriptions of the Thunderman's behavior. Originally, he was portrayed as not only malevolent but also extremely dangerous. He would. Oh, that made sense. Because I thought whenever I think of comics, I think of superheroes. Is that normal? Anyway, the answer to the final Jeopardy question was Archie. He would he would stalk its targets, impale them on trees, and remove their organs. Okay, that's pretty. Uh, I I don't know what to say. In comparison, contemporary depictions have turned him into a more passive aggressive creature. Instead of an active chase, he is more likely to let his prey devolve slowly into madness until they are able to cope with their situation, often watching from afar as this takes place. If angered, it will charge the aggressor and vanish with its victim to an unknown location. Modern interpretations also show that the Slenderman interacts oddly with electronic equipment and causes massive interference with audio and visual recording devices. This is seen with the Slenderman video games, and I think that's where the idea came from. Radios, televisions, and cameras are especially susceptible. How powerful this effect is seem is seems to be seem okay. How powerful this effect is seems to vary, which could be due to either the Slenderman's state of aggression or other outside factors that he may or may not be controlling. For example, weather, cell phone signals, etc. Okay. Um, in almost every contemporary description, the Slender Man is associated with stalking, often for extremely long periods. It is not unusual for a person to be trailed by the Slender Man for hours, days, months, or even years. Man, imagine being stalked for years. I don't think I want to imagine that. Ugh. Okay. So, however, he usually appears when least expected and where the victim is alone and the most comfortable. Home, school, work, outdoors, along trusted roads, etc. Okay, home, yes. School, for some people. Work, I don't see how some people would be comfortable in work, let alone outdoors and along trusted roads. But that's just me. And oftentimes, he also strikes when the target's defenses are down, sometimes to the point where they simply have no will to fight him off any further, making for an easier kill. One of the most common features of the Slenderman, generally accepted among both fans of the mythos and victims, is that he will target those who reach a certain level of understanding about it. These accounts vary from person to person, but it seems that being a victim of the Slenderman is almost contagious or memetic. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Uh, Pronunciation. Yes, I'm actually Googling this. Oh, okay, memetics. Okay, memetic. One can become his prey by encountering someone he is already chasing. Basic research and even collecting images doesn't appear to encourage notice. Someone has to delve into the mythos in an almost obsessive way. A theory sprouts from this, discussing how het. Okay, is that even a word? Het. Let's see. Okay, it's short for heterosexual. Okay, I don't know if that's supposed to be yet. How he? Okay, it's supposed. Just a minute. Sorry. How he should be able to track several victims at once due to the apparent number of people invested in the mythos. This theory states that he is a sort of omnipresent being. Oh boy. Abilities. Main page abilities of the Slenderman. Uh, okay, I'm not going to go into the abilities of the Slenderman because that could be an entire video along with the Slenderman and mythology and culture and everything else. So let's get to the abilities. The Slenderman's original abilities included selective invisibility, say to adults or anyone without a camera. That would also explain why in the how in the Slenderman video games you always have a camera. The ability to change height and body shape, the ability to shape its arm into tentacles, and or the ability to sprout tentacle-like appendages from its back and shoulders to be used as additional arms or legs, or simply to instill fear. Most likely the latter. Many stories seem to indicate that the Slenderman can control a person's mind, which became the basis for the proxies in the video ARG that later spread to Slender Blods. I have no idea what the Slender Blods are. Nor do I care right now, because I'm more interested in the history. The Slenderman was also originally had stronger connections to children, and many of the original stories was revolved around disappearing children or featured Slenderman sightings and photos with children. This was often attributed to the innocence and morbid curiosity of children, which could lead them down the path of discovering the creature. Also, as more stories came forth, however, the use of tentacles and tentacle like appendages became less common and the invisibility was limited or eliminated depending on the storyteller. On the other hand, some stories took the invisibility even further and claimed it was entirely invisible without the use of electronic devices. Every Everyman Hybrid, Tribe 12, ML Anderson 0, and Dark Harvest 00 or 00 also contain some sort of video and or audio distortion, indicating that the Slenderman has an effect on modern digital instruments. This does not appear in any of the original accounts, but these also mainly make use of the photographs and lower tech video. EMH, or I'm just call it say EMH for short. EMH has suggested that this distortion is the effect of sigma radiation, a radiation said to be given off by Slenderman and the Rake. Oh God, the Rake? Seriously? Oh joy! I know what I might be doing soon. Jeez, Sigma radiation is also contagious as it entered Evan's bloodstream. Okay. When his arm was brutally maimed by the Rake. I have no idea who Evan is. Okay, I have no idea who Evan is, apparently. EMH and ML Anderson 0, ML for sure, also describe the phenomenon known as slender walking. Slender walking is a term created to describe Slenderman's apparent teleportation and space-time warping / teleportation between locations. Yes, because this is now becoming sciencey. These abilities were seen in early Slenderman accounts and is one of the most recognizable elements of the mythos. Slenderman's ability to appear seemingly from nowhere in a place where he wasn't mere seconds before is one of his most terrifying traits, and EMH mentions the effect of this on a person's mental health. I I honestly can see that. I can see why. Don't ask me why, but it does. I don't think anybody's watching. So let's see. Participants? Nope, I'm the only participant, so I can now exit out of the other YouTube app tab. Certain contemporary views see his movements as either extremely limited or impaired, as if he's incapable of moving his body properly. It is rarely seen to actually move and goes from standing still to rapidly teleporting within the blink of an eye. I don't know why I did a snap, but oh well. There's no apparent coherency to his movements or position. Huh? I don't know if I'll be done by the video. I'll I'll get it done when I'm done. I, I know. Is it okay? Where was I? There is no apparent coherency to his movements or position, and he is capable of teleporting several dozen times to various locations in a few seconds. He does not flee and can be just as dangerous standing still as when obviously teleporting. He is capable of and often will stay within several dozen feet of his target no matter how they try to escape. It seems to be part of his psychological attack to stay just within visual range without actually attacking. The fact that he is there, no matter what, is often described as worse than actually being attacked. The psychological effects often deteriorating the mind of the victim as a result. He appears to be appears to be able to follow any and all targets regardless of where they go or where and how they hide. It is certain how he does this, but it isn't certain how he does this, I'm sorry. But he seems able to keep a perfect trace of its targets, often speculated to be part of his supposed existence as a potential omnipresent being. Okay, so I'm not gonna read about the culture and the unconfirmed assumptions about the Slenderman. I would like to do that some other time in future videos leading up to the movie. The Slenderman has no specifically confirmed history, but contributors to the mythos have placed early sightings of Slenderman-like beings in Germany in the 1600s. That is probably where the name Der Schranke Man came from. Like I said, guys, I don't do German. Historically, the entity often took on the appearance of a knight or a noble figure. Germanic myths and fairy tales have been cited as containing Slenderman-like creatures as cautionary tales for children. That actually makes sense. I don't know why. Photographs from the early 1900s as the first confirmed reports where images of the Slenderman can be found in old photographs. Reports from this time indicate sightings in America, the UK, and Russia, usually connected to reports of children disappearances. In the mid 1900s, several run ins occurred in the war zones in Germany, which is theorized to be the Slenderman's native land. Soldiers were the primary targets here, which is weird because the Slenderman. Now, this isn't part of the fandom or the wiki. This is just my views. This part is weird. Soldiers were primary targets here, um, which is really weird because Slenderman usually just goes after children, not like men and like men or teenagers. Oh well. But that's just me. In America and Canada, there were reports of missing steers and children, mainly coming from forested and unoccupied areas. He is also held responsible for several strings of buildings burning with no apparent cause and multiple related deaths. The few survivors of Slenderman attacks, along with accounts left by victims, show the following historic traits. If the victim was a child, you would often approach them in a friendly fashion at first and attempt to gain their trust. The adults he stalked have one common trait. They had all been through a terrible tragedy in their life. Interestingly, in many cases, the tragedy was originally caused by Slenderman as well. If the victim was an adult, Slenderman would stalk the victims for a long period of time. This caused an illness that became known as slender sickness. Symptoms include massive paranoia, nausea, nosebleeds, nightmares, and hallucinations. Eventually, the Slenderman would abduct the victim, usually into nearby forest, where they would be killed. In messy cases, well, quote unquote, messy cases, Slenderman may remove evidence of its existence by burning the victim's home, place of work, or school, often causing the death of others in the line of destruction, generally those close to the initial victim. Well, then, that's pretty messed up. Uh, original Slenderman victims may originally Slenderman killed its victims by impaling them on the branches of very tall trees and allowing them to bleed to death. The victim's organs would be individually removed and placed in plastic bags, which would then return to their original positions in the body. The victims' corpses did not show any signs of a struggle. However, as time has gone on, it would seem that Slenderman has abandoned this practice. In the late 1990s, the more and more common use of cameras and camcorders allowed technology to shed more light on the creature, and the Slender Man was recorded and photographed stalking potential victims many times. In the late 2000s to early 2010s, several individuals recorded ongoing stalking and attack scenarios with them with themselves and friends. These video accounts are codenamed Marble Hornets, Everyman Hybrid, Dark Forest 00, ML Anderson 0, and Tribe 12, as well as certain Rivn videos. New accounts of the Slenderman's powers and abilities and attacks show some drastic differences from his original behaviors. Gone is the original desire to impale targets on trees. His over, overtly aggressive attitude, and the tendency to target mainly children. He now appears to target people who encountered him as children, often stalking them for years. It does so in such a way that the target is so unaware of his presence for months, years, or even decades. Typically, the victim won't be aware of its attention until far too late. Because of the somewhat contagious nature of the Slenderman's attacks, an initial victim may not even be aware that they are causing others to be targeted, since they may not know that he is stalking them. The Slenderman's stalking behavior is remarkably passive. He torments an individual by repeatedly appearing and vanishing, usually without harming the victim in any physical way. He invades the mental safety of his prey by appearing inside their house, outside their home, on roads they travel, at their place of work when they are alone, or ensuring only the victim can see him, or while the target is sleeping. Okay, that's even creepier. While the target is sleeping. Okay, wow, Slender. Wow. At least he doesn't go after people who diss him, especially now since I'm now finding this information. The sporadic and unexpected nature of these manifestations causes fear and unease, which eventually can grow into incredible paranoia. This period of stalking can last anywhere from several minutes to decades. The longer Slenderman stalks a victim, the greater strain on their mental health, which may be one of his goals. Prolonged stalking causes what has been named slender sickness, which is both a mental and physical ailment, and can cause paranoia, nightmares, coughing, and difficulty swallowing, convulsions, exhaustion, vomiting, hallucinations, etc. The physical symptoms naturally affect an individual's mental health, but it is believed that Slenderman exerts a direct effect on the mind as well. However, this phenomenon and Slenderman's control over it has yet to be fully explained. As mentioned, the behavior of taking organs out or impaling targets appears to have been abandoned. If reports of Slenderman's new modus operandi, or MO, are to be believed, it now vanishes with his targets, leaving no traces behind. Victims are usually alone when they vanish, leaving no witnesses. What little camera footage has been found is incredibly distorted and is nearly impossible to even theorize as to what they depict. The victims are almost never found dead or alive, and it has been speculated that perhaps he does not kill victims immediately. Okay, that's the worst way to go. I'm sorry, but it is. One of the most powerful new traits Slenderman exhibits is some form of memory inhibition. Like slender sickness, this effect can be caused simply by proximity, although it seems to vary as to exactly how powerful. In some cases, individuals will forget the past few minutes, but extending contact has led to people awakening in locations they are unfamiliar with no memory of how they got there. In some cases, it is believed Slenderman himself will deposit a victim in an unknown location. Wow, I was having trouble just saying that. And leave them to awaken after an attack, possibly to continue stalking them further. Victims who are stalked by the Slender Man for Extended periods show excessive damage to their social life, physical health, and even their careers. Typically, individuals will show massive mood swings and constant irritation, lose track of large periods of time, and have difficulty maintaining communication with friends or holding down steady work. I mean, can you blame them? I mean, they're being stalked by a man who dresses rather nicely, I try to admit, but has no face and used to take people's organs and just put them in beds and then put them back. Which makes me wonder, how does he do that? He probably could matter shifting. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Young Justice. Memory losses can be as long as several weeks or months, and often an individual awakens and attempts to run to their life only to find it ruined. Oh, attempts to return to their life. I thought I said run to their life. These patterns are possibly indications that the Slenderman has at least some indication that he has knowledge and experience with how the human mind works and reacts to various stimuli. It is possible that he exploits exploits this exploits this deliberately. Abandoning his more blunt tactics of impaling and gutting its victims. It is possible that he moved to more subtle forms of attack, such as invading their minds, surroundings, and thus eliminating any feeling of safety and driving them to insanity and a slow torment. Okay, there's a weird. Oh wow. Okay, that's creepy. I'm gonna post. Okay, I'm gonna. When this is done, I'm also gonna post the pictures on both my Twitter and Facebook pages. Relationship with children. Oh boy, this is this is gonna be fun. The Slenderman has always had some kind of odd connection to children. In the original mythos, which I'm not going to get to here, I'm going to save that for a later video, its relationship with children is one of its most prominent traits. Though no one is exactly sure why, many theories exist as to why he targets children, including he wins over the confidence of children, but adults are repulsed by fear. This theory is one of few that paints. Just a minute. This theory is one of few that paints Slenderman as a benign element, suggesting that he actually seeks friendship to some kind and can only find it in children who, unlike adults, he can get to trust. Okay, I highly doubt this one. I don't know why. I guess it's just me, part of my personality. But the first one I just read, I mean, it is a possibility. Don't get me wrong. Um, but I don't know. He chooses them. He chooses children because he can take longer to nurture their fear, stalking them for years before attacking them as adults. That's a big possibility. He brainwashes children, using them to further his own unspecified ends as proxies. For those of you who don't know, a proxy is like a follower to the Slender Man. Children are simply easier for him to hunt. Okay, that's just really weird. Okay, this is almost done. Actually, uh, frequented locations. Wait. Huh. The Slenderman is most commonly depicted as being found in deserted and derelict locations, often forested, where he can hunt without his victims being able to get help from other people or emergency services. It shows a preference for forests and dense woodlands, partly because he can easily blend with the trees, and partly because of how easy it is to confuse and terrify victims. He Has also been encountered in graveyards. Okay, that's really weird. Old houses, even weirder. Ghost towns, and abandoned mansions, where he lies in wait behind walls and doors to ambush its victims. Okay, behind walls. Okay, that's really weird. Examples of these locations include Slender the Eight Pages, Slender the Arrival, and Slender Rising. Okay, this is the first time I've heard of Slender Rising. I've heard of Slender the Eight Pages and the Arrival, but never Rising, which depict fictional encounters with Slenderman. Associations. Oh, wait, he has an association? Slenderman is associated with several groups, individuals, or creatures. Least known of these is an unknown organization which tracks and observes and is also possibly involved with Slenderman. The organization is officially unnamed, though may be known as Optic Nerve, and appears only in written accounts. It makes an assumed appearance in only one ARG, Dark Harvest 00. Slenderman has links to many proxies, which are insane individuals under his control or influence. The nature of proxies, their workings, etc., are unknown. Make appearances in EMH as Habit and TT as Observer. Slender. Wait, Habit. Nope. Habit's Twitter picture is a rabbit with red eyes. And I'm like, nope. Slenderman has also spawned many philosophical and theoretical cults made up of uninfluenced but unaware individuals such as Novus, Ordo, Europa, and Dark Harvest 00. Now, I'd like to mention in Mullet Might, who is from the Sticky Paddle, one of his proxies looked very similar to Jeff the Killer, who is another creepypasta character. The Rake is the name given to another mystery creature that is somehow linked or associated with the Slenderman. The Rake has a far shorter history and only one real appearance of associated with Slenderman or a proxy is through the video accounts of EMH. Okay, I'm gonna be skipping the in universe and out of universe. Actually, maybe I should. The end. Of course, the Enderman. Hate the Enderman. Creatures introduced into the game Minecraft during the adventure update. The uh, During the adventure update, take some inspiration from the Slenderman, but act differently in that they move blocks around with its freakishly long arms and act similar to the Weeping Angels from. Hey, Mom, the Weeping Angels are mentioned. I'm going as fast as I can. Okay. Doesn't take 30 minutes just to get to. Okay, I'm going as fast as I can. Anyway, um, television from the Doctor Who television series. Enderman's actions may also be based off of SCP-173 of the SCP Foundation series, and their appearance is similar to SCP-096. And I actually don't know what SCP-096 looks like. I might do an entire video of the SCP, which also has a slight resemblance to Slenderman. They also have the ability to teleport and will attack if seen by the player. Also in the Doctor Who television series, the season 6 creature known as the Silence are visually quite similar to Slenderman, with bald heads, pale skin, and suits. However, their faces are distinguishable eyes and mouths, where Slenderman's face is entirely blank. Slenderman, by definition, violates the square cube law, as his volume does not necessarily increase in proportion to his body size, and his spatial occupation is very undetermined and variable. I have no idea what the square cube law is. and I'm not going to get into it. The gentlemen are demons in the 4th season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They are very similar to the Slenderman with a tall, thin frame, suits, bald heads, and pale skin. Slenderman is the focus of the game Slender. A common misconception is that the game inspired the mythos, but this is incorrect. It is interesting to note that Slenderman is portrayed as male, a stark contrast to a majority of the folk tales, legends, myths, and urban tales, which often either depict demonic entities as females or as feral animals uh, that are not be classified by gender. This is likely a cause of the traditional masculine appearance of the creature in the towns. Now, as I said earlier, I'll make another video about like his expanded abilities and his mythos. But for now, I have to get going. So in the meantime, this is Theodore Dell asking you to like this video, comment, share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, show your friends on Discord, and subscribe. And in the meantime, peace out.